Hey, what's your self-talk? Thank you for coming. This is Jabari coming to you every Tuesday asking that real important question. What's your self-talk? And remember, if you're new, the reason why I asked this question is so that you can understand what are the things that I need to do to get more results in my life. And the results that you want, not the results you don't want. So I asked this question, what's your self-talk? So you can ask yourself, am I choosing to focus on having a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? Now, the growth mindset, embrace struggle. Understand that you have to put more effort than you thought you had to put in. This fixed mindset is like, you know what? Don't need it. I'm okay where I'm at. You're really not. And I make up excuses or I'm fine where I'm at. So here's the thing. You have to pick a choice. So that's why I ask that question all the time. What's your self-talk? Are you choosing to be growth mind or fixed mind? So today, we're going to keep it real simple. Because what I have learned is learning is a part of life. And while learning is a part of life and how to apply what you have learned, a part of your life, is so critical. And I'm just going to dive in because I'm real passionate about this topic today. So, when have we stopped learning? And why have we stopped learning? Now, we picked this up from somewhere. Now, there's a stat out there that says after we graduate from school, that the average American maybe read one book a year. One. So, and maybe you learn better by videos, that's fine. But think about any new information that you are letting in. And then ask yourself, is this good information? Is it positive, encouraging information? Or is it bad information? Is it gossip? Is it negative? So you have to make that choice first. You have to say, what are the things I'm letting into my mind? Because whatever comes in here, inside this part of my mind, then that is the thing that I'm going to show. Like it's part of our brain. It's called our RAS. I don't want to get too in detail in the biology of it, but it's in our brain. It's called our RAS, and our RAS is basically whatever we choose to focus on. And so, if you focus on negative information, then you'll paint this picture in your RAS, and it's going to say, "All right, well, I'm going to always pay attention to anything that's negative." So, if I see somebody do wrong, I'm going to continue to say, hey, you did wrong. Maybe they did something good. Maybe you give them constructive criticism, which they do need. But what's going to happen is you become such a critical person and you never allow yourself to really encourage somebody. You never get better at what you need to be doing or allowing that person to get better at what they're doing. So you need to be more aware of if you are being helpful. Because if you're not, then guess what? People don't want to hang around you. If you're always going to be negative, then no one wants to be that. That's just negative energy, and it's draining because people have to act like everything is okay when it's not. Because like, oh, here come this person. So we have stopped learning because school has painted this bad picture on us that, oh my gosh, learning looks like that in order to pass this test. Well, let me tell you something. In order to move forward in life, I have the pleasure to be part of this company, Transcend, and I run a business with my wife. We have a real estate investment business, and we are constantly learning. And the reason we learn, well, first, this is the reason why I pay attention to this learning, and it goes off a real basic principle that I learned from Proverbs 1:5. It said, let the wise hear and increase in learning, and the one who understand obtain guidance. So that means that you need to continue to be taking in information, learning what you need to do, and then applying it. Because once you learn what are the things that you need to do and to make your life better, and then apply it, then that's when you start understanding, oh, I may have some things I need to work on. Let me give you an example. So I was reading this book. It's called Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. And it's interesting because the guy he says you need to learn how you have associated yourself with money and tie it back to your youth. Because you may have seen specific examples or people have modeled money in your past a certain way, and you need to make that connection. So allow me to reflect. I'm like, okay, what are the things that I've seen my parents, friends, mentors, when it comes to money, how have they related with money? And I gotta ask myself, do I do the exact same thing? Do I do the opposite? And why is that? And then I have, by simply applying that exercise, by reflecting and answering the questions, then I can say, all right, so what are the things I need to change if I want to get to these results? Because I want to get to the results to get to a higher point, I can have a lot more influence and impact a lot more people. And I can pour more time into them. How do I need to connect with myself and see the mistakes that I have made? And then how do I continue to work on it? Because things just don't go away. If you have pushed things off in your past, they just don't go away. You need to deal with them. And learning how to deal with them, maybe talking with other people who have a wiser perspective on life, or simply opening up a book, or maybe looking at some TED Talks or YouTube as informative videos, you learn and understand, oh, okay, they had that same maybe problem, or they maybe had that same difficulty that they had to go through life. And then you can start to understand, okay, I can make better choices. But this all goes back to what? Learning. Choosing to learn what you want to get better at and then applying it. Because if you just learn something, that's one thing. And we do this in school a lot, right? So before I make to this next point, make sure if you have anybody that you think would be helpful, or this is encouraging, and you just want to share it, just hey, do me a favor. If you want to, share it with this one person, just so somebody can learn something good, positive, encouraging here on social media. So going back, so how do we obtain more of what we've learned? Well, first, if you have some helpful information that you've read or maybe you've heard, then you need to go out and apply it. And here's why. Not because you're going to maybe not because you're going to apply it perfectly. Maybe you will. I don't know. Everybody's different. I'm not going to put you in a box. All I want you to know is that if you learn something, go apply it. And maybe just like the example I just gave you, maybe applying is just answering those hard questions for yourself. In real estate, for us, applying it is going out and doing it. Maybe putting a down payment, or it's a lot of different things where we can pull equity out of another house and put that as down payment on another one, or we can go in and get a construction loan. And we've had opportunities to do that back and forth, but that we've made mistakes. And we have this negative image of, if we learn something, then we need to go out and perfect it. And if we don't do it perfect, then we have failed. But here's the reality. I want you to think back to anything that you learned and now you're real good at. And the reason you're good at what you are at now, because you went through that trial and error phase. You learned something, you're like, man, I love the results that I can get if I keep getting better at this. Or I love the feeling that I have by who I can become. And you paint this picture of yourself and you want to become that. And so what happened? You go out and you keep learning about that. Or you maybe just read a book and you just want to get to the point where you can maybe know that book inside out. And then when you constantly go out and apply it, and you keep applying it, then what happens? You get better at what you're learning, and you start to understand, oh, that's how that works, or it makes more sense now. And now you're starting to get to a point where you retain the information. Why? Because not only did you just take in all of the information like they do in school. They say, learn this, learn this, learn this, learn this. Will you ever apply it? I don't know. Just learn it, learn it, learn it, learn it. Well, will I have to apply? I don't know. Just learn, learn, learn. And so you have painted this negative image in your mind, like, why do I need to learn all this information if I'm not going to ever use it? Which is a great question to always ask. So here's your challenge. When you learn something and you were like, that is correct, I challenge you to go out and use it. So how can you use it? If it's something business related, go out and do it. If you haven't started your business, start it. If it's something that's probably more self-reflecting and you need to maybe have a conversation with somebody, or maybe you need to write down the answers to a question that a book is asking you to ask about yourself, or and having a conversation with somebody else who understands why you're talking to them about what you're talking about. Like, I have a mentor that I absolutely love, and we are going through. Uh, I look at anything that continue to strengthen my marriage. I think you should always keep learning. So we're going through this relationship 101 through a mentor, and me and my wife, and he was just giving us some great stuff that we needed to implement into our marriage. Have those tough conversations. You know, what are past hurts that y'all went through, and that you need to maybe talk about. And so we did that. And so I sat down. I'm like, all right, let's have this conversation. And then we had the conversation. I started having a couple questions. I reached out to him. I said, hey, I have a few questions that I want to ask you. Did a great job at answering those questions. And then he was able to give me great feedback. And then I was really able to understand, okay, this is what I need to do to make myself better at this area of communication. So all that to say is that I learned something, and then I applied it. And when I applied it, now I have a deeper understanding of my thoughts of something that I'm struggling with, or maybe something I need to get better at. So let's recap what we talked about, because I know I can go over things pretty fast. First, why did we stop learning? It's because we had this image inside of our minds, or we had this thought inside after school, was that, you know, I'm finished learning, because I don't know if I'm gonna apply none of this, and I don't know how to. Should I apply it, or why should I apply it? And so now, you know, the stat is that average people who graduate from school read one book a year. So that's why you stop learning, because you believe the false image. So why must we learn? We talked about this scripture that just it's something that you just need to believe. So when you choose to believe what this scripture says right here, it was Proverbs. Oh, excuse me. It was Proverbs 1:5. Let the wise hear and increase in learning, and the one who understand obtain guidance. So that tells you that if you're wise, you will hear and increase in your learning. And then once you understand what you're learning, it give you guidance. That means you go and act on what you've learned. Because once you act on what you learn and you understand this is the right information that I needed to learn, then what happened? You start to learn how to apply it. You get out there, it don't make sense at the beginning, but you get to a point where you're like, okay, I understand what they were saying in that book. I understand what Jabari was saying. Or I was understanding whatever book I was reading, Eric Thomas or William Moore Jr. or Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar. I mean, list of people who are very encouraging. But then you start hearing their voices, and it becomes your self-talk. Because when you're in the midst of doing something and you don't feel like you comfortable with what you're doing, but you know you want to do it because you want to get to the other end. You want to get to the results that you visualize for yourself. And that's why you started off in this journey to learn, because you want to apply something, because you want to become someone, and that's more than who you are right now. Okay? So, thank you for watching. Thank you for making sure you're here every Tuesday. I'm very grateful for you guys. And I will be bringing you more information soon for anyone who's local. For now, we're local. We're going to have some training that I'm going to be a part of and tell my story. I'm going to give you some great tools to be able to take home with you so that you can understand what are the things I need to do on a daily basis. And just a hint, you're probably looking at one right now. All right? So go. Take advantage of the day. Ask the question, and every time you ask the question, what's your self-talk? Ask yourself, is it positive? Am I growth-minded? Am I making a difference in my life so that I can encourage others? Or if I'm being fixed-minded, if I'm being selfish, and I'm just, you know, everybody can kick rocks. So make sure you come next Tuesday, and I'm going to leave it as a mystery what we're going to talk about next week. But ask that question. Say it with me. What's your self-talk? See you soon.